Welcome to another one of Otmar's videos. Today we're talking about the bed setup that I've done in my Model Y. I was looking for something that's easy to set up, doesn't take up too much room when it's all collapsed, and that is very comfortable. That's of course the number one key. The first thing I want to mention is that the Tesla Model Y seat does not go fully level when the seats are folded down. And I found that a bit uncomfortable. In addition to the fact that that rear flat area, when the car is on level ground, is already sloping upwards, which, pro tip, park with your nose down a couple of inches more than the back, and that'll be more level. Then additionally, the seats were sitting up at about a 10-degree angle. And that was just generally uncomfortable, tends to make you slide down, and suboptimal. So I've seen a lot of people have made structures to level that out, and I didn't want to give up that storage space underneath the rear access areas. And I'd rather have the seats actually go closer to flat. So I did some modifications, which I'll go into in detail in the blog. But you can see here that there's some straps that are pulling the seat down tight. That's not possible until you modify the stops in the seat back. Tesla has some hard stops on the Model Y, unlike the Model 3, where it just won't go flat. I suspect they're trying to protect the cushions, and I respect that, except that's not one of my necessities. And so I'd rather be able to squash them real tight. So I did some, took them apart, did a little grinding away of the stops, made them go lower. They're now within about 3 degrees, something like that, of the rear flat area. And I'll show you some pictures, and it turns out pretty flat. So then there's some straps that I've added to pull them down because it takes quite a bit of force to make it flat, compressing all that foam. So with that, we have a platform that's pretty flat. Then the question is what bed to put on it. And I am really, after trying a couple of different options of things, mattresses I had lying around and so on, I really went for the all-out comfort. And so I'm a big fan of the XPED. They call this the Megamat Auto, though this is the old one, which was the XPED Megamat Duo 10XY. Apparently the same thing is now called an Auto. And this package, as you see here, contains the XPED deflated, that I deflated with a vacuum, with the sheets and a down comforter still attached to them. So that makes the setup really quick. And then I have this bed. I really like these, what are these? Barley shell, I believe, pillows. I take about half the shells out, and it gives me a nice, firm, adjustable pillow that's really small. And so that's great for camping. So what I was going to demonstrate here is the process of setting up the bed and taking it down again, so you can see what's involved. And maybe I'll do a little time lapse here. We'll see. Okay. And before we get into the time lapse, I should mention this little car vacuum, which has a vacuum attachment, is really handy for inflating and deflating the XPED. So that's one of the things I like. The XPED has 2 separate valves, one for filling and one for draining. And so this fits the fill valve very well, and on the vacuum side it fills up against the larger draining valve. All right, I'll get to assembling it while the neighbor tractor makes a bunch of noise. So I'll open up the inlet. And there you have it. So now I've inflated it. That took, well, we'll see, maybe a minute or two. And it's really nice and comfortable. You know, you can feel it give, but still have good support. It's adjustable. So if I want it a little softer, I can just put my finger in on this fill port and push on the valve and make it softer. I tend to inflate it a little too firm at first, and then my hips will hurt a little, and so I'll be, no, I need to soften it up. I like that adjustability. And this has been sitting fully collapsed for probably 2 or 3 weeks, and I just opened it up. So, you know, you let the down comforter fluff up a little bit, but it's wonderfully comfortable. All right, next is how to put it away. And it's not too hard. There's a pretty big exhaust valve here. You just flip the piece open. And my little vacuum doesn't actually sit there, doesn't hold itself. So I'll need to sit here and suck the air, hold this while I'm sucking the air out. Oh, and in the process, once I'm sucking it out, I also, generally before I suck it out, I'll roll it up a bit. I don't know that I have to do this, but it does minimize some of the time that vacuum, which is noisy, is running. So I can just kind of put some weight on it, let it deflate, set the pillow aside. And if I stop here, the one-way valve on the exhaust keeps it from taking in more air when I let up. And then I'll take another bite on it, let a bunch of air out. For all I know, it might be just as fast to just use the vacuum for that whole time. So I'll just set the vacuum there. All right, that seems about normal for as far as it goes. I like to use a Velcro strap just to hold the whole bundle together, and I love the idea of leaving the sheets and the comforter on it, because that just makes it that much easier to set it up again. So I'll do a little rolling up. And put it back in the bag. Fortunately, XPED sends a bag that's significantly larger than what's needed for just the mattress. It's so it can take the comforter and the sheets and everything. Even can throw the pillow in there. And there it is. So additionally, let's just take a look at the back here. And sorry about the glare from the sun, but you can see that if I sit back here and sight down it, it's pretty flat. There's a couple of degrees of upward tilt on that seat back, but it's much better than it was originally when it was before the seats were modified. It's not terribly simple to modify those seat backs. It takes some disassembly and some grinding, and it's a little fiddly. But for those of you that are willing to get into the mechanics and modify the car a little, I sure think it's worth it. It makes sleeping much more comfortable. All right, for more details, see my blog. I have links to the items that I used, and we'll catch you next time.